What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way. So today is going to be a little bit different from my other stuff, which I guess I say that a lot, like every other video. But usually I go for more wholesome stuff, and this is not. Which, fair warning, it is stylized, but there is some disturbing imagery in the latter half of the speed draw. Just a heads up for you. In case you're sensitive to anything like that, there's also a couple little flashing images, but that's to be expected with something that's sped up. But we're all probably aware, at least somewhat familiar, with the nostalgia horror genre. It's pretty popular, especially in games lately. So think like Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy and the Ink Machine. More recently, you've got like Poppy Playtime and Amanda the Adventurer. Can you tell I watch a lot of Let's Plays? Basically, it's a universe that makes essentially kind of a parody of something from our childhoods, which makes it more likely to have traumatized us as a kid. And in that way, it kind of taps into this sense of fear that you got as a kid. And it makes it almost nostalgic along with that fear. Ironically, this is also really popular with children. I think it's mainly just because gaming is so big on YouTube. A lot of, the biggest channels are obviously Let's Players. But it's so, funny and ironic to me seeing kids with merch from these concepts where it's like the whole intention in the universe is using children's entertainment to actively draw in, usually, and harm children. Like, you got Tommy wearing a Five Nights at Freddy's shirt. He probably doesn't know what it means. He just sees the bear and recognizes it from YouTube. And you realize that, it's Freddy's whole job to search down and murder this child. That's that's kind of the irony there. But I mean, I guess, a lot of adults have horror merch, so it's not unheard of. The genre itself feels kind of perfect for me, though. Mainly because there's this crossover between this, seemingly harmless kind of cutesy design, like I said before, Timmy just sees the bear, and horror, which I have definitely grown to love horror, especially as I've aged. It used to be one of those things that was definitely not in my wheelhouse. I mean, I was a kid, but, the Chucky movies used to scare me, if that gives you any indication of it. But now, as an adult, I do love a good spook. I consume a lot of creepy content, really. Kind of doubt that I could ever make it through one of the games myself. I really get too immersed and wind up feeling like I'm in actual danger. But regardless, I like the idea of making something in the vein of horror. The only issue is that I've kind of been cursed with the cute. I just tend to personify a lot in my work, and I have been learning a little bit about what makes something spooky, but it is just also my main style to work with something cutesy and cartoonish, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what my style itself does lend to well is a fantasy design for an 80s cartoon that went very wrong. So the characters that I'm drawing here aren't entirely new to me. I'm redesigning them. The thought came up about a year or two ago. I have a sketch that I was in my initial redo that I never finished, and then the original concept, which is older. Still not bad, but I think I fleshed it out a little bit more and made the characters look more like actual character designs and a bit more cutesy. So the personal fear factor that initially drove this for me, and what inspired it, was actually from these Care Bears toys that I had as a kid. They were the ones that, they could sing different nursery rhymes, and, they each knew one, and they would harmonize around if you had more than one, so they could, learn each other's songs. The thing is, though, is that mine, I think I had, two, would just start playing in the middle of the night. Just went off randomly. And it wasn't like they were motion activated, or even left on. They just, came on for some reason. And maybe the batteries were bad, but they would also start singing songs that, I swear, at least, I heard them starting one song, like Wheels on the Bus or something, that I hadn't heard either of them sing personally. And obviously, maybe all of the songs are just coded into them, right? But, some sort of glitch activated it, because they're not supposed to sing the song unless someone else is singing the song, so it's weird. Yeah, even as an adult, I think that would be very highly disturbing, even if I could explain it away right away. But, imagine being 6 and hearing your Care Bears go off in the middle of the night. Did I mention that I was terrified of the Chucky films? So, with all this set up, let me get you into this story that I've essentially crafted and get you really set into the mood of this universe that I have created, which is the Lulubye Sings universe. Lulubye Lamb and Friends was a show with one season, airing from December 1979 to an abrupt stop in March 1980. Originally, the franchise kicked off with a movie called Lulubye and the Magic Bell. After the film's relative success, the copyright was purchased by a now unlisted company, and the series was put into development. Like any cartoon in the 70s or 80s, the main purpose was to sell toys. A selection of toys called Lulubye Sings was released the same year, ending just as abruptly, but a massive seller in the Christmas season, literally in the same month of release of the series. One toy was particularly hard to find, and there is a dispute as to whether it was even released in the initial run: Baff. Baff was a new character added to the franchise, only conceived by the series and wasn't in the original movie. The rest of the cast all had pretty familiar archetypes and stories. The film and series took place on Sing-Along Ranch, and each character was a type of farm animal. Lulu the lamb was, of course, the young protagonist. She had the regular gamut of children's shows' insecurities and fears. She typically faced problems with being sheepish, like finding her voice and making friends. Stories for the piglet, jambon, an English play on the French word for ham, often focused on eating healthy and not being lazy. Jeopard the dog was a calm, slow-witted foil to the other reactive characters, always in his own little world. And Mama Mule, of course, was the matriarch who raised all of the younger animals, never having children herself. She would usually be the driving force of the narrative and recall the moral for every episode. In the series, Baff seemed to take on some sort of authoritative paternal role alongside Mama Mule, or at least that seemed to be the intention, but since the series' removal, it's hard to tell if he had any impact. Or lines, for that matter. No voice actor for Baff was ever listed. Moreover, the credits for the show itself only listed pseudonyms for the actors that have yet to come forward as having worked on the show. Fans of the show insist Baff spoke, but could not list any lines, often appearing confused and forgetting the topic entirely when brought up. One clip released onto a now-removed forum from a supposed studio tape. The show itself never released on video, but it shows Lulu seeming to fill in the gaps of a non-existent conversation, while the scene would cut back to Baff, simply staring wall-eyed toward the viewer. Many posit that the voice lines were simply not recorded. Some reported to hear a low-frequency noise playing and some sort of dialogue behind it, but the evidence was totally scrubbed before anything solid surfaced. The whole franchise itself seemed to be notorious for low quality, including the toys. The rare Baff toys that were seemingly found were often recalled for being supposedly bad quality, spewing nonsensical static and a sense of unease in children right out of the box. But Baff toys weren't the only ones. As collections grew, reports of discordant singing, unknown songs, and malfunctions only became more frequent. Though the set is rare and therefore are likely high value in the modern day, some collectors on the same forums swear against collecting the entire set. It's assumed the quality or simple obscurity of the series was the issue. However, forums discussing the toys are often frequented by supposed full set owners, frantically advising against collecting all 5, then promptly deleting their account. Only one, relatively recently, put up a video that spread before the inevitable deletion of it and the whole forum itself. The user, presumably, holding a shaking camera. There's a violent sound of static noise and singing around them. Some blurred shots of the toys, which seem to shock the viewer by their positions. The camera faces a Lulu doll, emitting what sounds like hysteric laughing drowned in static. Under the cacophony, you hear the user ask, "Are you the devil?" The noise stops briefly. The Lulu toy seems to respond.
You think this is only to do with him?
So, that is my spooky story so far. I hope you like the concept. Definitely kind of a backstory for the whole concept itself right now. Kind of wanted to play on the old subliminal message / satanic panic sort of thing. But like Lulu said, it's not quite that. Is it weird to say that I had fun? Like, I just love making kind of mysterious things. Just give me like a bit, like a hint of lore and some dripping mystery. And I'm really into it. So, I hope that I didn't scare you too much. There's no need to worry anymore. Everything is perfectly fine.